All people are born unique. Some born with unique intelligence, some born with unique physical ability, and many God-gifted things like that. Well, with the exception of twins, unless you're fraternal, then moving on, these guys take their uniqueness to a whole different level. We're gonna show you the 10 human beings with a unique ability. Number 1 is really amazing and unbelievable. We will advise you not to perform that type of task at your home. So don't forget to watch this whole video, but before that, give us a favor. Subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for the more upcoming amazing videos. Let's begin from the number 10. The two-headed girl. A little girl was born back in March of 2004 with this condition like that. An extra head, just head, no arms or legs, and not even a body. She was born with a rare birth condition called craniopagus parasiticus. This condition happens when an embryo begins to split into identical twins but fails to complete the process. This leaves an undeveloped conjoined twin in the womb. In simple words, Mage was born with a parasitic twin head. Of course, the extra head had to be removed, and the very difficult operation lasted 14 grueling hours, to the surprise of many, including the surgeons themselves. The surgery was successful, making her the only person to survive such an operation. Her story wasn't meant to have a happy ending though. While she survived surgery, she unfortunately contracted an infection and succumbed to it 2 years later. Number 9. Nosehead. There is actually a good reason why this man's nose is on his forehead. His name is Shalian, and he was involved in a horrific accident that left him wanting for a nose replacement. But instead of the doctors just giving him a fake one, they decide to grow one for him. The problem is, again, they grew it on his forehead. Of course, it's not going to stay there permanently. It's going to be transplanted to its rightful place as soon as the nose is ready. The process of growing your own body part is pretty amazing, but it's still in very early stages. But a bigger question remains: why the forehead? Well, the growing nose needs to be monitored all the time to make sure that all blood vessels are working as they should, allowing the new tissues to grow and thrive. This way he can monitor the health of his new nose just by looking at the mirror. Number 8. 31 digits. A woman in India with 31 fingers and toes is set to enter the Guinness World Records book, but says she has been branded a witch by superstitious neighbors. Kumari Nayak, 63, was born with polydactylism, which occurs when too many fingers and toes are formed in the womb during the 6th or 7th week of pregnancy. The condition affects up to 1 in 1,000 babies born worldwide, but can often be corrected with surgery. Kumari, from the village of Kadapada, in the Ganjam district of Odisha, has 19 toes and 12 fingers. Kumari says she has been forced to hide herself away at home for most of her life because superstitious villagers think she's a witch. She said, "I was born with this defect and could not be treated because I belong to a poor family." Number 7. Doll boy. In China, a baby boy was born with what appeared to be a mask permanently attached to his face. The boy, known as Kang, and was born in 2009 with a condition called a severe transverse facial cleft, which means there are 2 huge gaps appearing from both sides of his mouth leaning towards his ears. It's similar to having a cleft palate, but much worse. When his condition was made public, donations started pouring in with the purpose of financing Hoi Kang's surgery. That way he'd be able to live a somewhat normal life. Thanks to all the golden-hearted people around the world. The boy has undergone a few reconstructed surgeries now, and according to reports, he's looking much better now. Number 6. A visible heart. Penelope Hope Wilkins was delivered prematurely by cesarean section, which is problematic enough. Just ask any parent whose kid was born prematurely, but little Penelope had bigger issues coming out of her mom's womb. You see, she was born without a chest plate and her heart was outside her body. She was born with the condition known as thoracic ectopia cordis, in which part where all of the heart grows outside the body as the baby develops in the womb. This is so rare that it only happens in 1 out of 5 million births. After a series of operations to put her heart back in her chest, little Penelope has made a miracle recovery and was finally allowed to return to her home 14 months after she was born. She underwent 3 surgeries in total, which involved putting her heart back inside her body where it's supposed to be, then covering it up with artificial ribs of made-up mesh. Number 5. She-Devil. A woman named Liang, 11, from Sichuan, southwest China, noticed one day that something was growing out of her forehead. It was small and looked like a mole, so she didn't really mind it. The thing is, though, it continued to grow until it ended up kind of looking like a horn. The growth is actually called a cutaneous horn, which are made up of compacted keratin, which is the same protein we have in our hair and nails and forms. The growths are most common in elderly people aged between 60 and the mid-70s. They can sometimes be cancerous, but like in the case of China's she-devil, more than half of the cases are benign. Number 4. Spider Boy. Deepak Baswan from India was born with 4 legs and 4 arms. The extra limbs are pretty useless though, just hanging out of Deepak's chest. The extra set of arms and legs actually belonged to his twin, which failed to develop fully and somehow attach itself to Dio. This kind of condition is known as the parasitic twin, but instead of being branded a freak and shunned by the community, which sadly is what usually happens to people similar to him, Deepak was instead worshipped by the Hindu pilgrims from the area near his village in the state of Bihar. They actually believe that he is an incarnation of the god of Vishnu, who is also known to have more than 4 limbs. The family is pretty uncomfortable with all the attention they were getting, so they decided to take Deepak to a doctor to have the parasitic twins surgically removed. Fortunately, the removal was a success and Deepak was able to live a normal life. Number 3. Certified Eye Popper. If you can do something weird, even if it is kinda disgusting, you can be an internet sensation. That is exactly what Ahmed Khan is. He gained internet fame for being able to do something that we couldn't bear even looking at, and that is popping both of his eyes out of its sockets. This schoolboy from Lahore, the capital city of Pakistan's Punjab province, discovered that he had this bizarre popping talent in 2016. Scary or not, he is very aware of the record for popping eyeballs at the maximum belongs to Kim Goodman from the US, but he's confident that he can break that record anytime. Number 2. The Monster Arm. Jeff Dabe is an arm wrestler who is something that he regularly uses to his advantage in his chosen sport. You see, he's got extremely large arms and hands. If you couldn't tell, he was once an arm wrestling prodigy who started competing during his teens in the 70s. But his career came to a screeching halt in 1986 when his right arm was injured during a competition. However, he's just recently come out of retirement and competing exclusively with his left arm, which now has a staggering circumference of 19 inches. According to his wife, she is always the center of attention whenever she and her husband are out. People mostly think that something was wrong with him or has some rare condition that resulted into his arms growing so large. Doctors can't figure out what made his arms and hands so big. Health experts at the University of Minnesota initially thought it was a case of gigantism, but it was quickly ruled out. Number 1. Big mouth. If it ain't food, don't put it in your mouth, especially things as large as a soda can, but then again, that exact thing can actually make you famous. Francisco Domingos Joaquim holds the record for having the biggest mouth in the entire world. His mouth is 6.69 inches from corner to corner, which is so big that he can actually fit an entire can of soda inside it sideways. When he was 20 years old, he even joined a big mouth competition in Rome where contestants crammed their cake holes with a whole host of items, including saucers, coffee cups, and beer bottles. But nobody's mouth could beat Franchi's. Francisco and his unique talent was discovered by Guinness Book of World Record researchers scouring YouTube. After 2 years of searching, they tracked him down to his hometown in Angola. Since then, Francisco has become an internet sensation with his videos racking up thousands of hits. Do you have an unusual body part, or you know any person who would? Then share the story in comment box below. Want to watch more amazing videos? Then click on any video appeared on screen.